Hi, everyone. Our guest today is Mary Flenner, the founding editor of Tween Magazine, a lifestyle magazine for young girls that's all about empowering age appropriate content. As a mom of three girls and a seasoned marketing and content writer for nearly 20 years, Mary saw a gap in what the media offers to tweens and decided to create something different. Tween Magazine challenges today's cultural norms, where girls are often pressured to grow up too quickly, and instead embraces childhood. Tween encourages girls to be authentic, goofy, and adventurous, and celebrates these precious preteen years. And you know we all love a good, authentic, and developmentally appropriate celebration here at TMIT. Mary lives in Cleveland, Ohio with her husband and three daughters, and we are thrilled to have her on the show. Welcome, Mary.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Very excited to talk with you guys today.
Yes, thank you. So, I guess let's start at the beginning. Tell us the tween origin story and what inspired you to create a print magazine in 2024.
Yeah. So one day, my 10-year-old daughter had seen me reading a magazine and simply asked if there was one that she could read. And so I jumped online, looked around a little bit, and was shocked to find that even in today's world, that there really wasn't an appropriate option for her. So, we had done some of the more wholesome children's magazines like Highlights and, Ranger Rick, and those are great. But as my girls were getting older, they were kind of outgrowing those, but there wasn't really anything for that in between audience. It jumps up really quickly to those more teenage magazines. And so I saw that gap, and with my background in marketing, I think the wheels kind of started turning. And, thinking back to my childhood, I knew girls loved magazines. I loved magazines, and realizing that there's so many girls that don't read them anymore, it almost, kind of made me sad. And I knew there's this opportunity and this whole world they don't know about, how cool they can be. But I I really got excited by the idea of kind of putting my own spin on it and kind of like revamping them for today's world. So, making them a lot different than the ones I grew up reading that were all about looking hot and learning to kiss boys and flirt, and which celebrity looked better in a dress and things like that. So yeah, I really wanted to kind of bring back the magazine for today's world, and a magazine that I would feel good giving to my own daughters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what topics did you want to address right out of the gate?
Yeah. So I really wanted to kind of push back against what's happening in culture now with girls on TikTok, and, they're going, those Sephora tweens and makeup routines and skincare that they don't need. And I think girls are just growing up way too fast. And so I kind of wanted to just pull back and celebrate the everyday girl, make it about embracing childhood, being silly, being a kid, and just almost kind of like pumping the brakes. Like, this is all happening too fast. You guys don't need to be doing this, learning these sexy choreographed dances on Snapchat and TikTok and Instagram and all those pressures. And it was all just happening so fast. So I feel like it was, I really want it to be a way to get back to that more traditional childhood, like I had in the 90s.
Mary, what did the magazines that you read when you were a tween, when you were 11, what did they get wrong about you?
Oh boy. So I loved them, but they were not appropriate for me, is what I would say. um, so I read Bop, Teen Beat, and those were all like the hot guy posters, like Jonathan Taylor Thomas, Devin Sawa, Andrew Keegan. And they
Great
did,
trifecta there.
yeah, I would say what they got wrong about me and other girls is, I mean, it's for them, a moneymaker. They know they're playing into that girls are boy crazy at this age and are idolizing and, wanting to marry these cute boys. And that's like all you're thinking about. So that it was really just playing into that's all we're interested in. And so I think that they've just that they put too much focus on our, thinking that I'm thinking about flirting with my crush at age 12. And um, I think they're just putting so much pressure on those romantic relationships at such a young age, where I probably wouldn't have been thinking about it so much. But when you're reading articles saying, are you ready for your first kiss? Then maybe you're going, oh, I'm ready for my, it's kind of in your head now that, oh, girls my age are thinking about having their first kiss. Am I ready? Where maybe if it was about how to build a better lemonade stand or like a door-to-door bit, some kind of neighborhood business I could have started, maybe that's what I would have spent more time thinking about. So I think they were just so singular on, okay, you're thinking about boys, how to impress them, how to look good, and how to look like these celebrities. And my goodness, the pressures with body image and wanting to be as thin as the girls, of course, in the magazine, that I think every girl could relate to growing up reading I think is something that they all got wrong. And now they're realizing, 20 years later, it's been a slow, slow change and shift over the years, but it's still something I think they're struggling with, finding that right,
Yeah.
balance.
Well, the editorial was totally driven by the commercial, right? Where
Yeah.
the boys are actors in movies and the skincare is products that are advertised, right? And so you now have an opportunity to do this differently. But how do you do it differently? Because I would imagine you want to make money, right? So, like, how does an indie print magazine stay sustainable without lowering its standards?
Yeah. It's a good question. It's something I thought about a lot when we were starting it, is that, we include advertising. Right now it's more limited, but we are really deliberate and thoughtful about every brand that we're partnering with. So we only want to promote brands that we truly believe in. And I think that that is really important and is something that our readers value, because they know that they can trust everything that's in Tween is something that I really feel good about giving my daughters. So I've already thought about, what if this brand approached me or something that kind of didn't align with our values. So it has naturally worked out that the brands that, they really believe in our mission, and it just, it's naturally worked out that they see the value in what we're doing and they believe in it and want to be behind it.
Mm-hmm. Are there any dream advertisers or partnerships that you think of when you think of Tween?
Yeah. Okay. So if you used to buy magazines when you're a kid, I remember like the the print ads with brands like Steve Madden, like Madden girl shoes, Pacific Sunwear. So I would love to have like some really cool brands like that. We've been talking to Gab Watches. Gab Wireless has a lot of products that we believe in. We've had them for years. So we already are talking with them. But I would love to have those cool, like classic, when I think of the editorial photo shoots and things like that, that I grew up looking at. So yeah, maybe one day.
Sure, you're on your way.
Trying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I try to run this household in a way where no advertising gets in, right?
Yeah.
Where our kids don't know about any brands. Where
And we fail, trust me.
and we fail, of course, and it comes
Maverick
through.
talks about Batman and
Yeah.
Superman, and we're like, where did this come from? But okay.
It comes through the craziest places, but
Diapers.
because it comes through diapers, because it comes through the library. I try, and I do it for myself too, and for our family, to just basically to only subscribe to things where we have an ad-free version, right? So I'm wondering, is that something that anyone has asked for? Has anyone said, "Hey, Mary, I love the content for my kids, but I don't want them seeing any brands. Can you make something that just is an ad insert for parents or an ad-free option where you pay more?" Has that come up at all? Have you thought about that?
It hasn't come up at all. I think because the brands that we're choosing are ones that most of our readers would be okay with, if that makes sense. But if it did ever, I'm sure it's something we could look at. Of course, it would raise the price a lot, but as a reader, I really liked the ads. Maybe, I remember hanging them up on my wall and they never bothered me. I thought they were cool and interesting. And so I think I am trying to take the best parts of the magazine experience that I had as a kid. So I think that advertising will always be a part of it, but it is just selecting the right partners and making sure that any of the messaging is, in that tween, aligns with the Tween brand.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a common theme for us. It's like we can tend to be very black and white with the best of intentions, but I do think that having aligned advertisements is probably more realistic than having no advertisements.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite feature so far?
Ooh, that's a good question. I got really excited. I mean, I get really excited about all of them. But we recently did an interview with playwright Lauren Gunderson. And if you aren't familiar with who she is, look her up. She's one of the most produced playwrights in America and like one of the most produced living playwrights, which is a really big deal. And so I was like very nervous to talk to her because she's very cool and brilliant. And so I did an interview with her and she gave so much great advice. And as a writer, it really resonated with me, you know. So she talked to girls about, how, you know, what she does as a playwright, how she gets ideas, things like that. And then following that, we have a feature on how girls can write their own play and put on an outdoor play. So
Cool.
she was really cool to talk to and just gave so many great tips. And, you know, she's been promoting us. And so she's just been like such a great person to connect with.
What do you think has been your daughter's favorite feature so far?
I think they felt pretty cool about we had the singer-songwriter from The Voice, Bryn Cartelli. And then we had Learn to Write Your Own Song, again, kind of like pairing them up with, you know, having an expert tell about, you know, teach about a topic and then how girls can do it. So they really liked that one as well. They get excited about just like the did you know facts. They'll help the, you know, every day they'll be like, oh, this is one for tween. You know, here's a fun fact. So they like just, you know, those little things like that, or the crosswords, and there's a would you rather that they love coming up with. So they get excited about just like those little fun, you know, little tidbits that I think the kids have a lot of fun with.
Mm-hmm. That's so cool. Yeah, you've talked before about how your daughters are your co-creative directors, right? How has Tween adapted your family culture as you have started this?
Yeah, so they really are. They've been involved from the beginning, and I love that they have got to see every step of the way from me saying, you know, I have an idea, we're going to do this, to creating a website. And now I really do run everything past them because they're my first focus group at home. So I think it's helped build their confidence because they see, you know, that I really do I really value their opinion. I listen to what they say. You know, if they don't like the cover background or they think something feels weird and fake or that's lame because I'm the mom and I, you know, so I think it really has given them that confidence, like, oh, wow, like I know, you know, I have a good opinion and though I'm a kid, you know, I still, you know, mom's listening and I know what I'm talking about. Um, so yeah, you know, we've gotten busier creating the magazine. So I think finding that balance has, you know, been tough, but it's something that we're all really excited about. So they know, you know, I try to really be deliberate with my time and set up, you know, okay, I'm going to play with the kids now and then later jump on the computer and get some things done. But I think just we've had to really be mindful about setting aside that time for them because it's gotten busier and, you know, there's more calls and just more to do. So, but it's nice because they are understanding, you know, like I had to run out to a printer and drop off magazines. And I said, well, I could wait, but the subscribers are waiting for this magazine. And my oldest goes, no, you need to get it to them. You need to go right now. So I took them to their friend's house and they were like, no, we'll drive out there, mom, do it. So they're like my business advisors and
Totally.
yeah.
So tell us, if you fast forward 5 years, like what do you envision for Tween Magazine? How will you know that it's making the kind of impact you envisioned when you first started?
Yeah, I think in 5 years that we would be in some big retailers. I think that we're going to be in Target. I think we'll be in little toy shops all over. And we'll, you know, girls that have it are going to be telling all their friends. It's going to be a lot more popular. It's maybe not such a small indie magazine. We have more trusted relationships with some big brands. We have so many amazing female designers that want to work with us. So
And
yeah,
what
just
will a young girl feel when she picks it up? Like what do you really want them to come away with?
yeah, I want them to feel seen, I guess, and just that like that, you know, oh my gosh, this is like everything I'm into. This is so cool. We just had a mom who sent us her daughter's reaction getting tween for the first time. She said, she said, I truly left my video on accident. And hearing her daughter like made my whole week or month, because it was that type of reaction, like, oh my gosh, this and this, like, these are all the things I'm into. And just kind of knowing, having that feeling of it's okay to be how I am. It's okay to be goofy. It's okay to, still play with dolls, or, you know, to be a kid and not feel those pressures of having to pretend to be, or, carry yourself like a teenager. So I think that's just that struggle of that age, is you kind of have one leg in each world, right? You still are a girl, and you want to, well, maybe you want to play, or you sometimes want to play with Barbies, but then you're starting to feel like you want to do more independently and want to start dabbling in these things that the older girls are doing, and do less with your parents, and they're starting to feel embarrassing. So I think it's, you know, giving messages to both girls that feel, in both of those worlds, and just letting them know that they're, if you're feeling hormonal and crazy, you're not crazy. All these things are normal, kind of normalizing that experience of all that it means to be a preteen girl.
I love that. I especially love the goofy aspect, the permission to be goofy. I feel like I was on the later to mature side growing up, and definitely wanted to be goofy longer than some of my friends, and actually grew apart from some of my friends during those tween years because I still wanted to be goofy. And I think that that's kind of part of the adolescent transition, right? And just enabling and giving children permission to play in that space, in that silly space, I think is really important. So I applaud you for including that part.
Thanks. Yeah, I think a big part of our mission is giving girls permission to just be kids longer. I think that's just such a, they're growing up so fast, and it's like, just pump the brakes. Like you said, celebrating childhood, just be a kid. You don't need to be a little mini influencer and worry about your, online social brand. Just like take all of that away. Don't worry about those things, and just be you. I think like embracing individuality is a big part of the magazine too. So we're very, very much about, being weird and being you. So yeah.
Cool.
That's very cool. In the family space, particularly on social media, I'm sure you have spent a lot of time there recently, given what you're doing. And I'm just curious, are there anything that you have picked up on to reach families more authentically that you're seeing either is working, or that you want to do?
Yeah. We're kind of figuring it out every day. I know, I think people like to see our girls, like they like to know that it's a, my girls are involved, and it's kind of a family business ish. But I have never put my kids on social media before this. I don't include their names or anything. And I'm like, so that was kind of a big deal for me to be like, okay, I never post pictures of them, but now I'm kind of including them in tween stuff. And so my thought with that is like, a lot of times they're in a photo shoot with many kids. I'm not really saying who's my kids. I don't use their names. I try to still like, keep their privacy. Um, but yeah, so I want to let people in and like see the face behind the magazine, but I also, I don't need to be a star. I don't like want us to be, so I guess well, I struggle with that a little bit. Like
That's a tug of war, right? Because in a way,
yeah,
you kind of are the brand.
yeah,
And
exactly.
tween
But
is
they
not
won't be forever, Greg, right? I mean, because you do have two tweens now, right?
Yeah,
But
and we're gonna have
presumably,
another one
yes, and
day.
you'll have another one. But presumably, this will be a business for a long time, right? And you don't want to be no longer relevant when your kids age out of that, also.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's great. I guess before we let you go, I had one question about one of your features. I guess it's a recurring series called Real Girls Who Rock, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that? And could you also tell us what your feature would look like if you were one of the Real Girls Who Rock?
Oh boy, that's a good one. So, Real Girls Who Rock is a spotlight on real everyday girls who are doing something amazing, whether it's, our first one had a Taekwondo champ who has her black belt. They could start a club. Maybe they're skilled musicians, things like that. So if you're listening, we are always taking nominations, so you can send them into us. But I think it's really important, again, with, how we're trying to go against all of those the traditional media that I grew up reading, and not spotlight what celebrities are wearing and, them getting their mail and how they're just like us, but trying to inspire girls with, girls that are like them, and kind of showing them, look, she did this amazing thing, you could too. And so, yeah, we featured a Taekwondo champ, we featured an environmental activist. And in our issue 3, we have a gymnast who also has alopecia. And issue 4 coming out in the winter is going to be featuring an entrepreneur who started her own line of dolls. So we have so many. Those have really been taken off. We've had a lot of cool people reaching out. So we have some wrestlers who we're going to feature, some girls who play hockey. So we really want to show girls, who are going against stereotypes, things, putting themselves out there, starting businesses, showing kindness through volunteering and things like that. So I did forget that when you asked what my daughter's favorite is, a lot of the girls really like The Real Girls Who Rock. And I think that was their favorite in the first one. So there's so many different features in it. It's almost, they're really jam packed. But
They are. They're great.
That's what everyone really likes those a lot. So
Very cool. And then, so if you had a Real Girls Who Rock profile on you, what are the strengths and quirks that got you here?
boy. So is it me when I'm young, when I'm like 10, or me now? Okay.
Yeah.
Or now.
Or now. Yeah, well, what are the things that actually it's a I think you nailed it, which is what are the things that happened or that inspired you during those formative years that allowed you to take this jump and do something bold like you're doing now?
Yeah. I think my headline would be something like girl who embraced her weirdness and learned that it's okay to be weird. I was called weird a lot and crazy. And I'd be like, well, why are you saying crazy? And they'd say, well, you're funny. And I'm like, well, then just say that. Don't call me. So I learned over the years to kind of embrace who I am, and that I sometimes have big kind of crazy ideas, but this was one of them, and people love it. And my girls love it. And I'm reaching moms out there who are looking for something similar. So I think it was, embracing who you are, embracing your talents, as, cheesy as it could sound. I've always loved writing. And so I really, focused on that and what I love to do. And to me, it was a dream job to be like, okay, I would love to run a magazine. Could I do that? That would be amazing. I would love to have that job. So, I just kind of gave it to myself. Okay, I'm going to give myself the title. I'm going to see if I can do this, even if, just give yourself the chance. So
way to reclaim crazy. That's great.
yeah.
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 That's
I don't know if
awesome.
crazy is the best word, but yeah, it was definitely very quirky and creative, and probably kind of loud as a kid.
Speaking of differentiated features, you started a pen pal program early on at Tween as well. Can you talk a little bit about that and what you intend for it and how it should grow?
Yeah. The pen pal program is something I'm so excited about. I feel like I've tried to start pen pal programs for years through the PTA. I'm always like, what about a pen pal program? I love the idea of a pen. I love the idea of connecting people. And I just think there's so many great things about it. I love getting girls back to writing letters, connecting with a friend that you can be open with and share about your lives, and also learn about where they live and what might be different. And so it is, we get a lot of great feedback about our pen pal program from moms and the girls involved. So yeah, right now we have girls all over the country, a lot of girls in Canada. So we're trying to make as many international matches as we can. So again, with getting scrappy, I'm trying to email schools in Italy and Spain and trying to make those partnerships so that we have more, kind of interesting matches, and you're not just being matched with someone, who lives around the block.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, really excited about how that's taking off. And
That was the thing our daughter was most excited about.
Yeah.
Extremely excited to
Yeah.
be a part of the pen pal program.
Yeah. There's nothing like getting something in the mail. You don't really get mail anymore, and especially kids. So
Exactly.
the magazine's exciting, but getting a letter in the mail from your friend, and we encourage them. We send out and kind of like an informational letter when they first join, and we say we encourage handwritten letters. You can draw pictures, you can ask questions, get to know each other. So we kind of give them a little bit of like, here's what it is, since again, it's kind of one of those things that's almost going extinct.
Sure.
And here's how you do it. And then we kind of leave it in the girls' hands after that.
Very cool. Very cool. Greg, do you have any other?
No, this has been terrific. Thank you so much, Mary. We are thrilled to have you here today. We're thrilled to have you quarterly in our household with our girls reading, following along. And because they're starting young, you'll have them in your audience for more than the tween years.
Yeah, that's great.
Which is exciting.
Yeah. Anything, any last thoughts you'd like to share with our audience, or where they can find you and Tween Magazine?
Yeah, so you can subscribe to Tween at tweenmag.com. We do 4 issues a year. It makes a great gift. Holidays are coming up, so we'll have our holiday issue out in time for, before December. And yeah, you can find information about joining the Pen Pal program inside, and follow us on Instagram at Tween Magazine for Girls.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mary.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. This has been another episode of The Most Important Thing. Hey, guys, if you're still here, you're definitely our kind of person. Thanks for spending this time with us on The Most Important Thing. If this episode resonated with you, we'd love for you to follow us wherever you get your podcasts and share it with someone else building family culture on purpose.